Okay, so this is a regular meeting of the Montgomery Select Board. Today is Monday, March 4th at 6:35 p.m. We'll call the meeting to order. First order of business is to review and make any changes to the agenda. I have one addition to the agenda to make, which is under Public Works. It's an addendum to the Black Falls taxpayer letter that was discussed at the last meeting. Any other additions, deletions to be made to the agenda?
I have none.
I have one.
Yes. Go ahead, Suzanne.
I'd like to add a conversation about the eclipse.
Okay, yeah. We will put under new business, we will do eclipse planning. So that would be 6A now.
Can you forward that to me and see if it comes through, because I know you sent it out and I don't have it, and that's the easiest way for me to take
Okay.
notes on it. I was in the wrong one because that's the one that just came through.
Give me 1 second. I'm just gonna send
Thanks.
this agenda to Emily so that she's got it as a Word document to assist with minutes.
I don't know why this isn't working.
Okay. That's headed your way, so assuming Gmail works, it should be there momentarily.
I'll catch up as far as minutes go.
Okay, and it is recorded, so we can always look back at the recording if we need to.
We just have to sit next to each other first.
Okay, cool. So we have two additions. One is under Public Works, the addendum to the Black Falls letter which we received, and item 6A, which is eclipse planning. With no other additions or changes to be made to the agenda, we're going to move on to the approval of the minutes of February 19th. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of February 19th as written?
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion from Mark. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
We have a second from Leanne. Is there any further discussion? Hearing no further discussion, we'll vote. All those in favor of approving the minutes of February 19th as written, please signify by saying aye or raising your hand.
Aye.
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 Great. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great. Motion carries, and you've adopted the minutes of February 19th. Moving on to Public Works. First up is just general updates. Mark, any general updates?
We just set up a meeting with V-Trans Stephen Stanley, the district manager in this area, for next week to discuss grants, and then we'll probably bring him up Black Falls to look at that road, and then discuss Route 58 to see if we can get more funding for that road, considering the traffic on it now.
Okay.
So if there's anything anybody else can think of, just let me know.
Okay, great.
But that's what he took over from Jim Coda. We never really met him, so.
Oh, I didn't realize Jim was
That's why-
done.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, so that's why I wanted to have him come out.
Okay.
So we can meet his garage.
Okay, great.
We'll go over stuff, yeah.
Excellent.
And besides that, we're just trying to keep up with, the roads,
Yeah.
the mud season has started early.
Yeah.
Early mud
Sorry,
season.
We're just trying to keep them passable.
Yep.
So that's what we're doing,
All right.
yeah.
Great. Well, we do have another item on here, which is personnel, and this is related to, I believe, it's either the new hire or existing personnel, which falls under
Yeah.
eligible for executive session, since it does get into the negotiation and discussion of contracts. So if there's no objection, we'll push this to the end of the meeting
Yeah.
and enter into executive session at that point to discuss it. All right, excellent. Moving right along then, so the added item was an addendum to the Black Falls letter that was received and discussed at the last meeting. So just as a reminder, this was a letter signed by 4 people on Black Falls Road, essentially invoking a statutory means by which we need to respond to repairs or draft a plan responding to their concerns. Again, discussed at the last meeting, the minutes capture all that. There was one item in the letter which I don't have pulled up, I apologize. But the letter essentially insinuated that there was a call for emergency services made, and emergency services were not able to get to Black Falls Road to respond to the need. That proved to be an incredibly problematic statement, because if that was true, if 911 was called and EMS was not able to get to the scene, that is a big deal when it comes to emergency services. And because that letter was read into the minutes and reflected in the minutes, it's a public record. And if, for example, the press got a hold of that and published a letter, it could cause immense issues with the Department of Health. Our department is currently going in for EMS licensure. And, essentially to have something like that on the record, which is a factually inaccurate statement, I won't call it a lie, but it's factually
I think it's a lie.
Yeah.
It's a flat out lie.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
And it not only implicates
Yes.
our town, it implicates other towns as well. Like,
Yeah.
this is like,
Well, it was
Unacceptable.
reflected back that they understood it to be an embellishment. So I'm not going to wordsmith it, but they were contacted to get clarity on that, and they did respond with a addendum to the letter, which I will read now and which will be included in the minutes. You should have a copy of it there in italics. The addendum to the letter: we appreciate and value the people who are Montgomery Fire and Rescue. We regret the interpretation of the sentence, last winter, one resident needed emergency transport for medical treatment and no ambulance could get up the road, end quote, to mean that Montgomery Fire and Rescue did not respond to a 911 call. No call was made because no vehicles were coming up the road. I think the important thing here is that no call to 911 was made. Our letter is directed in its entirety to invoking Title 19, Highways, Chapter 9, Repairs, Maintenance, and Improvements, Section 971, Defective Roads and Bridges Proceedings. Montgomery Chief Doug Kopax yesterday made it clear that Montgomery Fire and Rescue is never deterred from responding to an emergency and can legally commandeer any vehicle in an emergency. For that information, we are grateful. Signed, Black Falls Road taxpayers. Again, that addendum will be reflected in the minutes and be recorded. But again, for the record and for the Zoom recording, there was no call to 911, and there was no issue with Montgomery Fire and Rescue not being able to respond to a 911 call, regardless of how you want to interpret that sentence. Doug, since you are here, do you want to respond to anything? I'll give you a second to take the floor if you want to.
No, I just wanted to make it clear that, that if there was a 911 call made, I wanted to get to the bottom of it and find out when and the exact date and time. And when I asked that question, I got the answer that, well, actually, I'll have to talk to the person and see. And then finally it came back that no, there was no 911 call made. And because it's public record, obviously we can't just let that sit the way it was, so
Yeah.
I asked her to please send an addendum and retract the statement.
Great. Well, thank you, Doug.
Yeah, thank you.
Doug, I appreciate you following up on that, and I'm sorry that you had to do that, because I don't think that that's something that you should have had to do, because this was obviously, like, totally false
I
information.
don't want to create panic, in mud
Yeah.
season. We know it's hard enough to get around, and especially with large trucks and fire trucks and things. There's no guarantee we're going to be able to get anywhere with the way the roads get. So, but we always have a way
Yes.
to get to people and get patients out. We have a new piece of equipment here with tracks on it that will go anywhere in this town right now.
Yeah.
So we always have that to fall back on.
Yep. Well, thank you again for following up on that. And again, this will be recorded in the minutes in writing. It's recorded on the recording. So we can move on from that. Next up on the agenda is visitors. So Merle, you were first here for visitors. So,
Okay, I'll add one thing, Charlie.
yep.
The petition, when articles are in the warning by petition, I believe they should be in the business. Like you got it this time, you got town meeting's over with, and then you say, that, where we always say conduct any other proper business or something.
Being a town
And
meeting.
then the articles are there. So I think articles are actually, no matter how they are, petition or otherwise, should be part of the actual business meeting.
Okay. Well, I mean, if the formatting of the warning is problematic, I apologize. It is listed under Article 7, A and B.
Yeah.
And it will be during the warned meeting. The
Yeah.
meeting will not be closed prior to the discussion.
I understand,
So-
I understand, but it's like the meeting is over with and now we'll conduct any other business that's proper.
Okay.
Well, that was proper to start with.
Okay, I guess the thought here was that
My
because,
2 cents.
yeah, okay, well, I appreciate it.
Okay,
Thanks, Merle.
all right, thank you.
Great. Craig, anything for, visitors?
Yeah, have you learned anything about the privatization of?
We have not,
maintenance?
we have not had a chance to get any kind of more clarity on that as far as statutory process goes.
Yep.
I have it on my desk at home still to try to follow up on that, so we will try to get a more clear answer on what that framework would look like if it was something we wanted to pursue.
Alright,
Yeah,
cool.
so we'll let you know as soon as we do, so sorry about that.
Yeah, I know there's probably a lot of gray area in what could possibly be done. So, like, yeah, I ain't never known anyone else to try this.
Yeah, no, it's a great question, and I think that right now there's current stuff in statute we have to pay attention to, and there's also language in, for example, there's a bill H-268 right now, which is in the House, which has language in there that gets specifically to upgrading of class 3 roads and how that's, or class 4 roads, how that's handled, and what certain implications that would mean, like the way that bill's written right now. If we were to go through this framework that we discussed, assuming everything else is in place, it would actually have to go through Act 250. So there's certain kinds of things we have to figure out in terms of existing statute and what might be coming. But we'll try to do some more research and get back to you as soon as we can.
Yeah, yeah. So it's just quite a gray area.
Yeah, well, it's also one of those things where we've never looked at it, so we don't have any experience to fall back on.
I think a lot of places have upgraded, just made the jump, but the town don't seem to, well, I ain't gonna say want to, unless they got other priorities right now. So I just see something.
Yep.
So,
Well, again, we'll do some more digging into what the statutory process would be in terms of kind of following what we discussed, and we'll let you know as soon as we have some more information.
yeah, alright,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you.
You guys have a good evening.
You too.
Thanks.
See you, a few weeks.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to the mud.
Okay, thanks, Merle. Bye.
Take it slow, Merle.
Yeah, okay.
All right. If there's no other business for visitors, we'll move on to first item 5A under old business. This is town meeting check-in. Town meeting's tomorrow. There's nothing specific here that I wanted to flag other than just to make a space, just in case we had any last minute conversations or,
I had a question about
yep.
the vehicle taxes. Is it supposed to be tax year 2023, not 2024? 2024 is not due yet.
What page are you at?
Page 30.
Page 30. This is delinquent taxes?
Yes, yeah.
So that would be FY 24, which is fiscal year 24, which just ended. So the taxes that were just collected are FY 24 taxes.
Okay,
Those
Yeah.
are the last of the.
Because we run on a fiscal year now, and so
okay.
yeah, it's a great question, and perhaps we need to like clarify that in the book FY 24.
So like, the taxes coming up will be FY
25.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Because I just didn't see 23 in here at all, so that's why. And that's the reason, because it was 22, and then,
It is a good point though that there
I mean-
are no 2024 delinquent taxes reflected here.
23.
I mean 2023.
I just
Yeah, I will flag that.
understand that.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, my interpretation would be that it's the fiscal year issue here, but I'll clarify that.
I still say they would be due 24 instead of
Yeah,
23.
I'll ask Liz and Aaron how the report was done.
Yeah. I just saw that, and I don't know if anybody else could see it, but I just
Yep.
wanted to give a heads up.
No, that's a good catch, and so it's probably going to come up tomorrow, and so I will flag that for Liz and Aaron to get a response so that if someone asks tomorrow, we have a clear answer on why that is.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the
Okay.
only thing I saw.
Well, other than that, town meeting is tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. So Liz and Genevieve went and got the hall set up this afternoon. Brent has the audio all set up.
We have a couple microphones.
Yep, we got a number of microphones, so we should be good.
We
So
have people to bring them around, or we do?
Yeah.
Or we get that when we get there?
we'll figure that out. Yeah, we'll find a volunteer.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can do that. Way no one will be complaining about not being able to hear. All right, cool. Well, if that's it for town meeting, then we will see
Billy
everybody.
doesn't want to be fire commissioner anymore, or fire ward.
Would-
Ooh.
Billy Baker, I heard.
Oh.
Yeah, I heard he wants to get done with that.
Okay, well, we have a number of elections and appointments to make. Elections will all happen tomorrow. Appointments will happen starting at the next meeting.
Yeah.
And so we will, we will,
So the commissioner
No,
position, he's wanting to not do that, and he's also vacating the warden position. He's retiring.
I don't know if he's retiring the warden. It was the
He
other-
did. He called me.
Oh, he did?
came
Okay.
in here
Okay,
and he's bringing me to the meeting with him
yeah,
in a couple weeks. Like I think it's the 16th or something.
oh, okay.
Then I'm going to have to be appointed by the select board, and I'll become the state
Yeah,
fire warden. I mean, I didn't want to do it originally, but everybody
Yeah.
calls me for burn permits anyway, so I might as well just, it's easier
Yeah.
for me to give a permit than it is
Yeah.
to give them someone else's
phone number, yeah,
well,
Right.
yeah,
okay.
And that way, I'm also alert as to where
Yeah.
people are burning, and
Makes
what they're
sense.
burning, and I have a little more control over reining that in.
I think
Yeah.
that's why he was doing it when he was chief.
Yeah.
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 So he just does it.
Yeah. So now you
He's sick of
know.
everybody bugging him, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Blame him.
Yeah,
No,
He's been doing it for a long time.
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
great.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see everybody tomorrow morning at 9.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And like I said, after that, we'll handle appointments starting at our next meeting.
And there has always been a question about the commissioner, and this, you can keep that position if you want. I don't
Yeah.
really care who it is, cause it's meaningless. There were people at one point that thought that the commissioner had oversight over the fire department, but under Vermont statute, that does not happen unless you form a fire district,
Yeah,
which we do not have a fire district. So the commissioner is really just a kind of a made-up position like the wearer of coal
Yeah,
yeah.
here.
I think,
Yeah.
Excuse me. I am the wearer of coal.
Well,
yeah,
so if you want to continue
yeah.
the
Yeah,
process by tradition, just voting in a new commissioner, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm just letting you know that it's not necessary.
Yeah, I think
And fence
technically,
voters?
what I was
Is
told
that-
once is that technically the fire commissioner, given the framework we have, would just be a liaison to the select board on issues related to the fire department.
And that would be you and I.
So, yeah.
I mean, so-
So tomorrow, when item 2M comes up, we will nominate Doug Kopax as fire commissioner.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Well, tomorrow we will get into that. What's the right metaphor here? I don't want to say can of worms. Get into that bucket of fun.
The bucket of fun.
Here we go.
There we
Alright.
go.
All right. If there's nothing else under town meeting,
At least you made it back, Charlie.
yeah, despite my best efforts.
Yes, sure.
All right, new business. Item A, eclipse planning. Suzanne, you want to kick this one off?
Yeah, so I've been talking with Morgan Daybell, who is my boss at the Black Lantern and works for the supervisory union. And he's been conveying, based on what the Black Lantern needs to plan for as far as our being open or not, the extent to which this whole eclipse event is going to affect this area. The supervisory's been consulting with other rural towns that were in the path of the 2017 eclipse. And the advisement from those towns has been that the schools will need to have a minimum of 1, if not 2 days closed because of the traffic overload that this event causes. And I've been doing some research online, and the 2024 eclipse is expected to bring out more people than the 2017 eclipse did. So this the state of Vermont and this band of northern Chittenden County, Franklin County, and Orleans is expecting to receive between 150 and 250,000 people. And Montgomery, every room in like all of J-Peak, every room in this entire county is reserved. You can't book a room online at all. So it might be too late to do anything, but
Yeah.
we may want to try to get porta potties or like, I don't know if our emergency services, like fire department, like there needs to be some sort of preparation that our roads are going to be completely overwhelmed. Our infrastructure is going to be overwhelmed. In 2017, a lot of towns, their gas stations ran out of gas. Grocery stores were completely emptied out. So
Yeah, no.
I think Doug has been doing a lot of like listening at the state level with emergency services and doing some coordination there. So maybe like Doug wants to give us an update as to.
We were just talking about this outside. So Doug, you want to talk about what you've? I mean, I want to put aside kind of like the private business. I mean, we can definitely talk to Sylvester's and try to make people aware. But as far as municipal planning goes, Doug, do you want to talk about at least what, from an emergency services perspective?
Yes, we talked about it at the Franklin County International Firefighter Association meeting, which is our mutual aid agreement. And some of the personnel there had attended the state meeting, which I did not attend. So coming from the Department of Health, the Department of Public Safety, like everyone is ramping up for this. We're expecting the roads to be overrun, and they're literally certain areas they're closing down, like Collins Pearly Sports Arena in St. Albans will be closed, even though there's a parking lot there for people to use. They want it closed because it's also a landing zone for a Dart helicopter if they have to do transfers from Northwest to Burlington or vice versa, whatever has to happen. So we have decided here to shut down the PSB parking lot and the public safety building. I don't know if the office is going to be open that day or not, but if they are, they'll be asked to park their vehicles on the side of the building over there, and then no one else will be coming in or leaving this parking lot unless they are part of the fire department or ambulance service with Enosburg. So Enosburg is planning on staffing a member in our town, not with an ambulance, but with a car with, a medic kit and ready to respond to emergencies here, just in case the roads are jammed up between here and Enosburg. And then we're planning to have a landing zone already set up for the Dart helicopter, just in case the roads are impassable and we have a medical emergency in town. We have some fire members that are guaranteeing that they will be right here to deal with things, and I personally will be working security at JP. So if we have like a massive accident or a structure fire or something like that, I plan on just leaving and coming back here to handle that. But as far as prep, I was even asked by Tom Howell, the head of security at JP, to contact V-Trans as the deputy, emergency coordinator or whatever my title is that I was appointed.
Yeah,
One of them. Is to contact V-Trans and ask if they can possibly put up signage on 242 saying no parking on the shoulder, because they're guessing there's probably going to be an influx of people trying to access the long trail to get to the summit, because they've basically oversold tickets for the tram somehow, is what I'm hearing. So now they're trying to figure out how they're going to get all those people up to the summit. And then they're limiting, like J-Peak is saying they're closing down all of their exits, and they're gonna have one entrance coming into the resort, and they will have to have a reservation to be allowed on the property after a certain time. I'm not sure how they're doing all this.
Can I just clarify for the minute? Sorry. You are contacting V-Trans about signage for 242?
Well, they asked me about that. Tom Howell from J-Peak asked me about contacting V-Trans for our side of the mountain, because we handle Westfield. So all the way up to the actual parking lot at the very tippy top of the long trail there is our coverage area. And then everything from there over becomes Jay's coverage area, J Fire. And that would be NEM's ambulance service, I believe, is covering that region. And then Enosburg would be covering over here. at least up to the Montgomery Town line. And
Yeah.
then NEMS will cover over to here, but I'm hoping we don't end up with a traffic snarl situation, but if it gets that bad, we're just gonna have to deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we do have people who are gonna be here able to like literally just respond to a fire, accident, whatever we have coming at us.
Yep.
So we plan on staffing, some stations are actually manning an engine, like literally having a crew on engine all day. We are sort of doing that, but we're just gonna remain local, like within just a couple miles of here, so.
Yep.
And I have, Tim and Jess are gonna be in town, so they are actually a crew of NEMS, so they're also, I don't know if they can do medical, because we don't have our license yet, so they wouldn't be able to do anything above emergency first responder level unless they were working for NEMS at the time, which I guess they could technically.
Yep.
So I don't know what else to do to prepare.
Yeah.
Other than what we've done here, and I think that it's just important to, we're gonna get, some road closed signs hopefully from the town garage to put at the end of the driveway. Cones across, no one's coming or going,
Yep.
Unless, Andre did suggest that I call the sheriff, he said he would come here and park down there. I don't know if that's really necessary, and it's up to him.
Yeah, okay. So after we talked, that something that came to mind, and Mark, this would be a question for you and Scott. I don't know if we have enough or if we can buy some, but I don't know if it would be worthwhile. It would be a lot of signage, but to put on every class 3 road, local traffic only signs,
Oh.
basically stanchions that say with a sign, like you know how like when there's construction work happening
Yeah.
somewhere, so a sign, local traffic only, basically so that we don't have people showing up here saying, hey, I wonder if I go up Black Falls Road, there might be a good view, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want to talk to Scott, if that's something we already have, or if we need to order them, but if that's something that we might want to think about doing, because I could see a situation where people decide basically like, hey, we're gonna go down any road we think might look like it might get us up high. And I could see somebody like, for example, Black Falls Road or North Hill
Yeah.
or any
Well,
hill.
The issue is too, is there's Airbnbs on every road, so that's
Right.
gonna be an issue too.
Yeah,
They would be
and,
local traffic if they
and-
had a
Well,
reservation.
if they had a
So
reservation,
they'd be
yeah.
covered under that.
and I'm sure
Yeah.
that there'll be people that will ignore them, but you know,
Right.
Yeah.
to some degree that might limit.
Yeah.
So if that's something you want to chat with Scott about, see if that's something that we might be able to work with.
Yeah, let's see what we got.
Yeah. The other thing that I do have flagged is to talk to the rec center just about whether or not they want to do the same thing, close the driveway to the rec center, how they want to handle that, because it's an obvious open space in town that, same with Riverwalk, right? We also don't want to deal with people turning Riverwalk, the fields, into a parking lot.
Yeah, well, luckily they got the rocks.
With the boulders, can they?
People can amaze
I
you
know.
at what they'll try to do.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the other thing I was going to do is reach out to the rec center, but I don't know. Suzanne, do you have any other thoughts on anything else that's on your brain that we can do?
We do have that day of school off now.
They're closing
It
it
is
Yeah.
off.
for the
Yeah, it
whole county, I hope.
Yeah,
Was that? in
Because
the-
they were gonna do
Yeah.
until noon.
I believe they
I'm
moved
hoping
the
they
day,
just
they
closed
moved the
it.
day off to that day. I
Because the
believe.
last thing we really need is buses delivering kids when
So
everyone's
the-
trying to get into position.
Yeah,
Unless it's changed since we went on
Agreed.
break. The last thing was that they moved the half day that was supposed to be Tuesday, that Tuesday to that Monday.
oh, so maybe it's
Yeah,
still
we
a
have a
half
half
day
day
then.
that day.
But I
And
think they
they
should cancel the
switched
whole day.
around one that we had
Yeah.
later on.
'Cause that's gonna be,
Yeah.
Is there a way that we can kind of pressure the district to just close school for the day? I
well,
mean,
we could call.
I think you would need to call the central office.
Yeah, yeah,
I think it would be a really wise decision. I
Yeah.
heard that on the other side of the mountain, they've taken a whole day.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
over
'cause
here,
we're gonna
we're
be
doing,
picking up
trying to do a
kids.
half day, and we're right in the bullseye right here. So
We're gonna be picking up kids at 11:30.
Yeah.
12,
No.
I mean,
I think it would be wise to just close school. I mean, we haven't really had a lot of snow days this year, so it's not gonna set anybody back.
No.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, honestly, the state of Vermont, Department of Education should have just done this unilaterally.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
My
And they-
biggest, honestly,
can
my
ask
fear is
for
Yeah.
is gonna be all weather dependent with this
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
because
Right, it might rain.
if we have
Or snow.
our traditional like 1 or 2 weeks of like super low humidity weather during that time, we got extreme fire danger, an
Yeah.
influx of people, possibly fireworks trying to get set off at exactly peak,
Right.
eclipse,
Yeah.
because it's dark. All right, now you got people shooting
Right.
bottle rockets and fireworks and whatever, and
Yeah.
trying to light campfires, and who knows, it just, to me, that's my biggest fear.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the worst time of year to possibly have this thing. So I'm praying that it rains at least the night before,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
it's beautiful for the day of.
Yeah, yeah.
But as everything's nice and wet, I'll be happy.
It's
Yeah.
funny, this reminds me of a conversation I had with Marty Coda at the bar one night about how if we ever had to block out access to town of Montgomery, I won't tell you what he said, but something about knowing where all the blast points are on the bridges, I think. Suzanne, anything else on your brain?
Oh, it's great to hear that Doug's been doing so much work preparing for this. I had no idea. I was just hearing, like doing all this research and like having conversations and being like, oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I guess the one thing I would ask, like, I don't know if it is probably too late, but to have some sort of porta potty facilities thing or trash receptacles along the roadways or something.
I think that would encourage them to stop along the roadways, which we don't want.
I suppose that's true.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, my guess is that the porta potty companies are probably all
booked up.
booked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We could, I mean, maybe there's an opportunity here to have an early green up day in Montgomery or
Yeah.
something like that.
Stock up on toilet paper,
Yeah,
again.
yeah, oh my God. It's like COVID meets totality.
Stop.
All right, well, again, Doug, appreciate all the
Yeah.
thought and work you've been putting into this.
Anything else?
The county is like, every ambulance service that I've heard of so far is fully staffing for the day. They're maxing their crew, like every crew member is supposed to be on duty and they're ramping right up for it. We're planning for the worst and hoping for the best,
Yep.
that's the best we can do.
Yeah.
Okay. All right,
On
well,
that note, I'm
Thank
out of
you.
here.
all right, well, if there's nothing else under Eclipse Planning, we'll move on to new business, or we'll move on to the liquor licenses. So we have a liquor license, it's a first, third class and outside consumption permit for Lantern Holdings LLC. This is the Black Lantern. Is there a motion to approve the first, third, and outdoor consumption permit for the Black Lantern?
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion from Leanne, is there a second?
A second.
We have a second from Emily. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye or raising your hand.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
That was an aye, right? Yes?
For
So, there was a,
opposed or
okay, there was a
abstaining?
delay, so just want to make sure. Okay, great. Any opposed? Any abstentions? So that's 5-0 in favor.
Okay.
Yep. Next up, we've got two overweight truck permits and a Monash and Consolidated Communications. We'll give Mark a sec to take a look at them.
Charlie, was there a liquor permit from the, or a consumption permit from the MCA?
There's not one on the agenda, so if it came in, it probably came in after last Thursday. Liz usually checks these the Thursday before the meeting to query what's in the queue. So not seeing one, I would guess that there wasn't one in the queue for town. But I can ask Liz if there's one in there now. We can certainly take it up at the next meeting.
Well, it's for Saturday. It definitely was not, it was submitted after Thursday. Is Thursday the deadline?
Well, Thursday is the deadline to, usually the agenda gets posted Friday morning, and so Thursday afternoon is usually when the agenda gets sent to Liz for posting Friday AM. So if the application was submitted after Thursday midday, my guess is it just didn't show up in the queue. Do you know when the application went in?
Yeah, I think it was sent in on Sunday.
Oh, like yesterday?
Yeah, like yesterday.
Oh.
Is there a way to like, just as a board for like verbally approve?
I mean, we could add it. The thing would be that we would have to then ratify it at the next meeting after the fact, and somebody could, having it not be on the warning, somebody could contest it as, you know, not being publicly warned, so they couldn't show up and say, we shouldn't give the MCA a permit because they're all a bunch of lushes. I don't know. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. I mean, I'll take the, I'm happy to do it. We would have to just put it on the next warning and then ratify the decision as a warned one. I mean, we have done things in the past around liquor licenses in town, including holding emergency meetings so that a certain bar in town can serve liquor that night. So it wouldn't be the first time we've done something like this. Do you just want to quickly describe what the permit was for?
Yeah, there's a gallery opening on Saturday for the skiing through time event, and we were hoping to be able to serve beer and wine.
Okay, and so that would be a class 3. I can't remember which one's which.
It's not selling.
It's just,
What's the liability on the town?
I honestly don't know what the liability would be.
Just that it's not warned.
I mean, so anything that we take action on that's not warned, the process I've always been aware of and told is that basically you have to then warn it at the next meeting and then formally ratify it. In this case, it'd be after the fact of an event. I mean, I don't see a whole lot of liability with this. The liability would be on the folks holding it. So like if something happened, the MCA could be liable because they've got the license. In the past, we have approved liquor licenses in the past prior to physically having them in hand. And we have in the past approved liquor licenses knowing that we have them that were not on the agenda. So this would not be the first time we have done this.
Can we just sign it tomorrow after town meeting?
I mean, we could sign it. Again, we'd have to go back and formally warn it and vote on it, I think, just because you have to formally ratify the decision. And that's not just liquor licenses. My assumption is anything the board takes a formal action on needs to be warned at a meeting. Now, that being said, there's been many times over the years where we've taken a formal action because there was something time sensitive and then we've gone back and formally ratified it. So again, it wouldn't be the first time we've done this. So I don't think there'd be a liability around this. But again, Suzanne, do you want us to, sorry, I interrupted you.
I'm kind of trying to also figure out, is it, because it's not, there's 1, 2, and 3 liquor licenses. 1 is for a restaurant serving and selling alcohol. 3 is for, I think because it's a one-time special event, it's more of a formality than a regulatory thing, because we actually would get the permit from the DLC for the one-time event.
Oh, so it's like an event license. We have had these in the past.
yeah.
So I think I know, yeah, I don't know formally what the name of it would be, but it's not a 1 or a 2 because you're not selling.
No.
And I don't believe it's an outside consumption permit because you're not selling it and having it be consumed outside.
It's an event, it's
It's an event license. I remember only seeing a few of these in the past.
there's been a couple times like at the Grange Hall.
Yeah, I mean,
People have come and
a lot of times
wanted
folks
for
just,
their events.
yeah.
So yeah, I think now that I'm kind of reviewing it, I don't think we have to make a vote on it because I don't think the municipality really has anything to do with it.
Okay.
I'll just,
Yeah.
since either way we'd have to ratify it, let me just figure out all the details on that for sure. And then if we have, maybe if we have to tomorrow, I can ask again.
Okay, you can just ask Liz what the,
I think it's,
is it for this weekend you said? This coming weekend?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, maybe ask Liz tomorrow what it is, and then again, it's Montgomery, and it wouldn't be the first time we had a special meeting to give someone a liquor license.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So jumping back to the fleet permits, those look good.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the fleet permit for N.A. Menage and Consolidated Communications.
All right. We have a motion to approve the slate as presented from Mark. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
We have a second from Leanne. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of adoption, please signify by saying aye or raising your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? All right, motion carries, and we have adopted the fleet permits for NA Menage and Consolidated Communications. So circling back, this brings us back to the personnel under Public Works, which can be discussed under executive session. So is there a motion to move into executive session?
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion from Mark to move into executive session. Is there a second?
Do we need a reason, personnel, or?
Yeah, and we can, I mean, I'll get you the statutory reference to put in the minutes.
Okay.
I don't have it handy, but
Yeah.
it is to discuss personnel contracts,
Yeah.
which is, I can't think of it, but we'll put it in
Yeah.
there.
Okay, I'll second it.
We have a second from Leanne. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of moving into executive session, please signify by saying aye or raising your hand.
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Abstentions? Okay, at this point, it is 7:16. We are now going to move into executive session, and I'm going to pause the recording. Will, we're going to be done after this,
Yeah.
so you can pack up if you want to, and I'll just record the rest of it on here. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have had a motion from Mark to come out of executive session. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
We have a second from Leanne. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of exiting executive session at 7:24 PM, please signify by saying aye or raising your hand.
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Abstentions? All right, we are now out of executive session. That brings us through the agenda. Any other business to be conducted tonight? If not, then a motion to adjourn would be in order.
Make that motion.
Okay, we have a motion from Mark to adjourn. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
We have a second from Leanne. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of adjournment, please signify by saying aye or raising your hand.
Aye.
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 All right, we are unanimous 5-0 in adjournment, and so we will adjourn the meeting at 7:24 PM. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you all in the morning.
Mhm.